if you don't have opportunity to change directly from the top, what are you going to do? So if you discover Bitcoin, you have no other option but to opt in. It's already a disadvantage opportunity. And I'm talking about my own country, Nigeria, which is most likely even better than some African countries, right? We have a large economy that if you produce anything, almost all the Bitcoin companies on earth have large numbers of Nigerian user base, except they don't want to be sincere. I can buy my domain name, I can buy my hosting plan and quickly set up everything today. In Nigeria, I can send money to my brother anywhere, my father, my family, anywhere across Africa, and they can cash it out. Ordinarily, that can't happen. So tell me, what are we going to do? Rely on our naira, that is our money that we are so proud of because we are citizens of this country, but it doesn't do anything much for us, has less value. The more the paper that you have, the lesser the value, that devalues every day. It's only natural. I don't have to be the one to say. It's only natural for you to opt out of such system. People want to get better. So if you stack and hodl, I wish you all the best. I also stack and hodl too. But you see where the fun is for me? I can send swoosh.
What do you actually see in Africa, where how fiat impacts their life, and maybe then also how Bitcoin changes their lives once they discover Bitcoin?
Interesting. You know, in Nigeria, in Africa, our fiat has been bastardized. You must have, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. You must have read stories. Even a lot of people have made money off writing about our stories. Stories of how the West have milked Africa's resources and, giving them crumbs back in terms of backing your money by, foreign currencies. For example, Francophone Africa, you see what is happening over there, what France has done to their economy and their currencies. And of course, look at our country, Nigeria. Largely, everything is about the US dollar, which is not supposed to be, which is one of the reasons why I support the Naira stablecoin, right? I'm not a fan, but I support it because anything that is going to make our country's currency be interoperable on the chain and move around without it being a central bank digital currency by the central bank, good. So ordinarily, anywhere you are, whether you're in Africa or elsewhere, if you are living under the authoritarian leadership of the type of people that we have that are very corrupt, if you're living where inflation is pretty much about 30, 35, 40%. Look at what is happening in Zimbabwe. It's a terrible war. They have one note, billions, one paper note in billions of dollars and can't do nothing. Most likely can't even buy you a gold chain, and Nigeria here, our inflation just got rebased from 35% to 24%. It doesn't mean that inflation is down. It just means that the base year and the reference year has been changed. Base year is now 2024. Reference year is now 2025. Inflation rebased from 34% to 24%, and CRR is 50%. That's the largest in the world, in the entire world. You can't find that anywhere in the world. How do you want to grow your economy? Even though the motive is nice, but the implementation and the timing is wrong. When you have an economy that is largely dependent on not oil, I'm not talking about the Nigerian government. I'm talking about the Nigerian people. They largely depend on the non-oil sector. The digital sector. Entrepreneurs just try to create things, by themselves. No power, no bad road, transportation is ineffective. The incentives to grow as a young entrepreneur, it's not motivational. And then you can't even go to the bank because CRR is 50%. That's cash reserve ratio. And then the money policy rate, the interest rate is 27%. How do you want to grow? How do you want to implement the Michael Saylor borrow cheap dollar model for Bitcoin when you're going to be, when the central bank is already telling you that the MPR is 27%? How much do you think the MFBs will give the loan out? How much will fintechs give the loan out? Most likely 30, 35, 40%. So it's already a disadvantage opportunity. And I'm talking about my own country, Nigeria, which is most likely even better than some African countries, right? We have a large economy that if you produce anything, you will succeed. That is why you see Bitcoin companies, and shitcoin companies coming into our country. We have the numbers. Almost all the Bitcoin companies on earth have large numbers of Nigerian user base, except they don't want to be sincere, so mention them. All of them have large number of Nigerian user base, but unfortunately they come in through the back door. And then when they get clamped down by the SEC, everybody shouts and complains. But, So it's natural for you to want to emancipate yourself from this financial slavery. It's only natural for you to want to take yourself out of the bondage of inflation. You want to opt out. So people get involved in anything that will give them opportunity positively. But sadly, almost everything you invest in still will bind you within the inflationary economy, whether it is real estate, it's a bond, it's useless gold. We already know what it is. They keep discovering gold here and there. It's plated, it's not real. You don't even know where the gold are. If Fort Knox can't really tell us what is in there, and Donald Trump has not come up with that check dodge by the US government led by Elon Musk have not been able to fulfill that, because they know if they expose that, it's going to be trouble for the US dollar, faster trouble. And then the Bank of England have messed up. What do you think Africa would do? So, and those are the people that took advantage of people's gold, right? Those are the leaders of the world economy. So even Africa, that owns the gold the most, can't really mine their gold satisfactorily. All the powers, have been signed to the colonizers. So if you don't have opportunity to change directly from the top, what are you going to do? All the options still put you in there. You keep rolling around in circles. So if you discover Bitcoin, you have no other option but to opt in. And for me, my experience, I bought Bitcoin in 2013. I didn't know what it was. They didn't orange pill me, right? It was just a poor, it was a poor introduction that the person did to me. I just liked it. I felt it was a money go up thing. But, in 2016, I sold it because I thought it was MMM. You can go and read about the Ponzi in Nigeria, MMM. It was a Russian-powered Ponzi. I tell people, look, you say Nigeria is corrupt, Nigeria is this, Nigeria, they're scammers. That's a fat lie. Americans are bigger scammers. Europeans are bigger scammers. The Asians are bigger scammers. And if you look at the formats of all the things that some of this tiny number of Nigerians, bad Nigerians have engaged in, it's because they were taught by these people. This scam were introduced in our country. So a lot of people fell for the scam. So when I heard that this scam got busted and a lot of people lost money from MMM, I sold my Bitcoin. I didn't know what it was. But thank God to Nice of America, I was in New York, and I found Bitcoin again because Western Union had censored me. I've said this story over and over again, but let me say it. Every time I say it in a newer dynamics. Western Union had censored me. I had a clean visa in America, so I helped undocumented Nigerians and Africans send money back home. I was trying to send money back home one time. Western Union censored me. So I got tired of this censorship. I got tired of traveling from one place to another. You have to go to the city center to send as much as 1,000 plus, because if you live inside the cities, especially someone like me that was living in New York, the outskirts of the city, you would not be able to send large amount of money. So you have to go to maybe like Manhattan, to be able to send large amounts of money. And Africans or Nigerians who have expired visa or somehow have not been able to orchestrate their green card, their documentation well, but they're just trying to survive. Everybody's trying to survive. Nobody wants to be illegal in anybody's country, right? And then nobody's even doing the job that they're doing anyway. They go there, they survive, they get themselves together, and they become great in the country. Shout out to the United States of America for giving a platform for Africans and Nigerians. Nigerians are one of the best performing immigrants in America. Go check them. The best doctors, the best lawyers, just go check the stats when it comes to immigrants. So it became very difficult for me to send money for these people, and delays were happening. I have to give money to somebody that have Naira back home, so that they take the bulk dollar, and they send Naira back home. And then so these things were delaying. Somebody that needs to go to the hospital might get the money 4 or 5 days after. Somebody that needs to pay for school fees and they've been chased out of school, because Nigerian schools can chase you out of school if you don't pay. People that need to just feed, they need money for feeding, it becomes a problem. Then when I was in New York in 2016, 2017, you send money via the banks. If you don't send it before 12 noon, they will not get the money in Nigeria. So most likely to get the money the next day. So you have to send it very early in the morning, and Western Union closed. Most shops close except you go to the city center where you see maybe a 24-hour service. I'm talking about Western Union MoneyGram. So I got very tired. I was coming from New York Code and Design Academy that day, and I saw this Rockefeller building with Nigerian bank flag, United Bank of Africa. Oh, that's fantastic. I walked into the place, but it wasn't really a banking all. It wasn't a commercial banking service. It was just a Nostros and Vostros account, if you understand what that means. And then I said, what do I do? What do I do? So, I started reading about Bitcoin again, and boom, I started, just trying to stack little by little. I realized that you can move money over the Bitcoin chain without any license, without any permission, permissionless, borderless. Oh, wow. Why do I have to go to Western Union? So I started pitching this to Nigerians and all of that. I came back to Nigeria, pitched that to a bank. That's the same bank, United Bank of Africa. Shout out to them. They gave me the platform for expression. I learned so much working with them. The Bitcoin idea didn't scale, but we're able to build a remittance service using the MasterCard Home Send for the bank. It was the first ever time the bank was able to do business for diaspora outside Western Union and MoneyGram. So we built the diaspora banking application. They were the first. They led the pack in Nigeria and Africa. But then, so I said, okay, now I've done this. I got to do my own thing. So because I learned something, I didn't get any equity because I didn't have the mentorship and exposure to do that type of business. I just got my bulk money. I enjoyed myself traveling around the world. And I saw that the product started doing well thereafter. And I felt very bad. So I said, okay, I'm going to build my own remittance services to help Nigerians in diaspora remit money back home, and I'm going to use Bitcoin and regulated financial services. Got some people together. They were trying to involve and invest money, top Nigerians, but pandemic struck. Boom, 2020, lockdown. We couldn't do that successfully. All investors pulled out. I told them about Bitcoin. No, we don't want Bitcoin. And I tried it and it worked. And we betted bought me cash. And we did transaction of $10 the first day. And that was very awesome. Today, we are now trying to integrate Lightning and that's awesome. So my story is basically from censorship, to real world sending money back home for people who have the need, people who work hard, who have traveled far miles, thousands of miles just to be able to survive and help the family back home. Right. And that was the middle central point, legitimate point to help them send money because they don't want to get caught by the cops or something. And still I got censored by the channel that I was using. So after that, my experience, I came back to Nigeria and I bettered my own thing. And today, you don't even have to go through that experience at all. Any young Nigerian, 19, 20, 21 can start up an international money transfer business. You don't need an IMTO for that. An IMTO is International Money Transfer Operator. You don't need a license for that. It costs billions of naira, millions of USD if you do the conversion. But today, a 20 years old is doing remittance business in the corners of their room. Nobody's clamping them down. And they're living well, driving fine cars, building houses, changing their world, going to school, digital school, physical school, changing the life of their fathers, building homes for their parents, setting up their family business. And it's so beautiful. That's why P2P is very big in Nigeria. Go check out the biggest peer-to-peer companies. They most likely blew up with Nigerian numbers. Even Tether, ask Paulo. He knows that Nigerian numbers is not a number to play with. You play with Nigerian number, you undermine your own business. You undermine your own, you'll just undermine your own profitability. So Bitcoin for me is born out of the need. I found Bitcoin because I needed it at the time. And I thank God for where we are today.
That's amazing. And I have something to show you. I think that's really interesting. I hope it's still true today because I was looking at that a few years ago and it just came into my mind now. Yeah, actually, it's still true, which is it's super fun to look at that statistic. You probably know of the Google Trends, of like we have Google Trends, and you can just put a search term in, and you see what the interest is over time. There are a lot of interesting things in those charts, but the interest by region is super fun. Because we have El Salvador at number one, apparently, in the last 5 years. I mean, El Salvador is because like the president is there and stuff like that. And then you're from Nigeria and I'm from Austria. So like we are basically placed 2 and 3, which I don't know how Austria came up there, honestly. Like I have no clue how Austria came up there. Because I don't know, like I put worldwide in there. It's past 5 years, like, web search. I don't know, like I've in Austria, the Bitcoin thing is not that big, but maybe it's like, relative to the population. And in Austria, maybe there are many Bitcoiners. I'm really surprised by that. But why do you think is Nigeria so on top of that? Why is the interest so big, especially in Bitcoin? And it just came into my mind that statistics, because I always saw Nigeria. Whenever I looked into Bitcoin charts, no matter what I clicked, Nigeria was always on the top 3. And you can play around with buy Bitcoin, with other terms. Nigeria is always number 1, number 2, number 3 in all the interest charts, even outside of Google.
You know, I kind of think that the stats is not even correct. Most likely, maybe it's going to be Nigeria 1, Austria 2. And not El Salvador. Shout out to the Bitcoin president, Nayib Bukele. I'm a fan, big fan. You know, I want to believe that a lot of data is not collected properly, even by Google, you know. But yes, it's part of what I've already said. Cash ratio, the highest in the world today, 50%. Money policy rate, 27%. Inflation, rebased inflation from 35% is 24%. And there is a budget of hope for 2025, right? 54 trillion. Out of that 54 trillion, Nigeria will still have to borrow maybe about 13 trillion to service the to be able to finance the budget. And then another 8 trillion to service debt. But the government is still living very, very wasteful. They buy new jets almost every time a new president comes in. They buy new cars in the budget almost every new year. When a governor or a political person is moving, the convoy is something else. The convoy is something else. It's like a parade of cars, showcase of cars, right? It's the autocratic environment that we live in, disguised as democracy. It's the unhealthy economy that is blessed with people with high enthusiasm that have the willingness to succeed, but being stifled by lack of proper and requisite basic amenities like water, power, good roads. You have to power yourself. As I'm speaking, there is no power. And, you know, so I opened most of the windows around, right? Because I don't want to turn on the generator and then you're going to be hearing background noise, right? But of course, my neighbor's generator on the other side is on, so you might still be hearing background noise. You have to use solar, you have to use generator, and still connect to the grid, no matter how wealthy you are, no matter how connected you are to the government. Some days ago, there was a due diligence session, oversight session happening at the Senate House of Nigeria between the senators and the customs. The customs were being accused of misappropriation, and they were there to defend their budget. And while they were doing that, the power went off for a long time. It has happened in Nigeria before in a World Cup session. Well, we had people from all over the world playing football on the field, and then somebody's dribbling and trying to go and score, and then the lights went off. Boom! So this are our reality. And to survive in Nigeria, what's the minimum wage? Today, the minimum wage is 70,000 naira. They just started paying. Convert that to Nigeria, to the US dollar, using the current exchange rates. The current exchange rate now is between 1,500, according to what Google will tell you, but on ground in the black market, which is the real world market, it's like 1,550 or 1,600. That's about $40, $45 or $46 when it is good. Terrible, right? That's the minimum wage that had just been increased about just less than a year ago. It was 30,000 naira before. And guess what? When it was 30,000 naira, it was almost $200. When it was 30,000 naira, it was almost $200. Today, look at where we are. So a country that is blessed with milk and honey, a country that is blessed with people like myself and people ahead of me, great people, musicians, Afrobeat superstars, footballers, great soccer players, great persons, lawyers, doctors, beautiful, well-represented Nigerians. But inside our country, economy is bad. Let's say the truth. I'm not saying people are not thriving. People are succeeding, right? But how many people are succeeding? The NDIC, right, said that in some years ago, about 4 years ago, 4% of Nigerians have less than 500,000 naira in a bank. That was about 4 years ago. 500,000 naira was less than $500, right? Yeah, at the time. Today, are people richer or poorer? Is the economy better or slower? 500,000 naira now is just about $300. $100 is 150, and $300 will be like 450. So it's like 320, $330. So Nigerians are living less than 300 and something dollar in their bank account. 99% of Nigerians. So the little 1% that are very wealthy or middle class are the only ones surviving. And we have a population of more than 220 million people. United Nations and World Bank says that by 2050, we would be 500 million people, a whooping market for anybody. Human capital in Nigeria is enormous. These young people are struggling, going online in a fragmented, with a fragmented payment system rails. They still try to educate themselves and pay for services. Why not Bitcoin? When I can buy domain name on Namecheap with Bitcoin like this. But if I want to use the Nigerian payments rails, it's difficult. We have to fund, and the money may not even go, or they charge you multiple times. I have never been charged multiple times moving Bitcoin over my node, or moving Bitcoin over any on-chain process, even over Lightning that they say is centralized. I love it. It's quick. I can buy my domain name, I can buy my hosting plan, and quickly set up everything today. In Nigeria, I can send money to my brother anywhere, my father, my family, anywhere across Africa, and they can cash it out. Ordinarily, that can't happen. So tell me, what are we going to do? Rely on our naira, that is our money that we are so proud of because we are citizens of this country, but it doesn't do anything much for us, has less value. The more the paper that you have, the lesser the value, that devalues every day. It's only natural. It's only natural. I don't have to be the one to say it. It's only natural for you to opt out of such system. People want to get better. It's not even about us. What about the Americans? Things are worse for them. The US dollar has been shot by Bitcoin. Bitcoin has hijacked the US dollar. Bitcoin today is what price as we speak? I keep saying it. I was on Stacy's space the other day, and I'm asking her, you Americans, why are you not on the streets? You think Nigeria is your dumping ground? You should be on the street protesting against Bitcoin. Bitcoin has finished your currency. You should rather adopt Bitcoin and ask your government what is happening. How much was a Nike shoe some years ago? How much was coffee? The dollar is 80-something thousand to BTC. $1 could buy thousands of Bitcoin before. And then we are at the receiving end. So we should even be celebrating that our colonial masters, of course, the UK, and other types alike, the people we look up to, like the Americans, the American government, not the American people per se, already are suffering from the magic of Bitcoin. Bitcoin has butchered the American dollar. So if the Americans are not crying and carrying placards, what do you expect us, that our money is backed by the US dollar, to do? That's why it looks like we are running a faster race than the Americans. That's why it looks like we are ready to adopt Bitcoin faster than the Americans. So you see Nigerians searching for a way out. On search engines, they are going, what can I do to get better? What is better than the Nigerian naira? What is even better than the American dollar? Because the American dollar is pretty much scarce to find. How do you want to find it? Except you're traveling abroad, you get BTA, basic travel allowance, and it is limited. And then you have to expose a lot of privacy. Where are you going? Who do you want to go and see? If you're trying to do business, if you're trying to pay somebody, who are you paying? Okay, get us information of that person. If I want to send you some money over the bank now, I have to tell everybody about Robin Seyr. Your color, what you do, the color of your boxers. Me exaggerating, but those are the private information they expect me to provide for myself and for you in the name of AML, in the name of due diligence, risk management, counter-terrorism financing. Come on. But if I use BTC, it's like this. So it's natural. It's a natural evolution, and it cannot be stopped. The train has moved. Any country that does not take advantage, shout out to America, they should thank God for Donald Trump, who has now set them on the pedestal of truth. They are now on that platform, automated, put in the cyberspace with AI, moving forward with BTC. They should shout out to Donald Trump and pray that another president don't come and turn it around. We are praying we get such type of presidency with such type of people around. Shout out to our SEC DG who wrote his thesis in Bitcoin. But still they are stifling him, not letting him approve and license proper Bitcoin companies because the politicians want their businesses and that of their cronies to be there. So it's a proper and natural thing to make sure that you come out of anything that will stop your economic life from growing or moving forward. And when you find Bitcoin, you will not be able to turn back. It's so spiritual.
I love that. And I made that discovery myself actually just a few weeks ago. I tried to, I actually did. I paid one of my editors, my editor, I only have one, my editor in Colombia. And we first wanted to do the Bitcoin payments, but he prefers the fiat one. And I was like, oh, okay, we can do it. I don't care. You choose what you want to get. And we did it live. Like he was on Google Meets, I was on Google Meets, and I was like, oh, I need that information, and he's like, oh, I'm sending you. Oh, I also need that information. Oh, I'm sending you. Oh, I also need that information. You need a lot of information to send money across borders, like a lot of that. And with Bitcoin, it's like, oh, like, what's your address? Okay, I sent it. Oh, here's the transaction ID, so you can see it that I actually sent it. Oh, it's waiting for 2 confirmations. Oh, it will be there in like 10 minutes. So it's such a revolution, and most people don't do cross-border payments. Like most people stay with the payments within their country because they don't have the need to go out, at least in Austria. That might be different in Nigeria. And anyone who has dealt with cross-border payments, they know, yes, it is very, very crucial that we have Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is already the best medium of exchange that we have. It's only the people that pay some Starbucks and they're like, oh, like Bitcoin is so bad for payments. Like, of course, we need the Lightning and we need the innovation and we need the ecosystem for that, and this needs to be built. But yeah, sorry from a rant, but
funny, Robin, it was funny, Robin. Thank God you're from Austria, so you most likely understand this. You face this firsthand. The fact that Bitcoin don't care about the color. Look at you and I. Look at the way we are connecting. You're white and black, but Bitcoin don't care. They cut me open, they cut you open, our blood remains red. Your blood don't come out as white. My blood don't come out as gray or as black. It's red. It's the people of the world that manipulated our thoughts, that changed everything, colonized and centralized just because they want to continue to stay on top and impoverish people. It's a format that is being taught by the colonials, even to African leadership. So I say these things all the time. I have built for one of the biggest banks in Nigeria, in Africa, UBAs. Once again, big ups to Tony Elumelu. But guess what? Even these people who are in the heart of the money business are finding it very difficult to adopt Bitcoin. Why did Bitcoin do so well the most under the peer-to-peer official system, network system? Satoshi Nakamoto said Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer electronic cash. He didn't stop there. He didn't say electronic cash and stop there. He said electronic cash system. It's a system. Consensus mechanism. You must agree, I must agree. I don't have to trust you, but I can verify, right? I cannot see the ledger of Bank of America. I cannot see the ledger of Wells Fargo, of Capital One, of HSBC. When I do transaction, I can only see my own transaction history based on what they give me. And they charge me incessantly. The same thing to all Nigerian banks. But I can see every transaction with privacy protected because I don't want to know you. You don't want to know me. But I want to see that transactions are transparent. For the first time in the history of the world, look at the unique thing that Bitcoin solved. Digital scarcity. There was never a time on earth that you could send something to another person over the internet and you will not be able to retain that copy. That's what Bitcoin solves. People don't understand When Bitcoiner says every other thing is shitcoin, it goes to zero, for me, it's beyond making money. If it's beyond making money for me, it is that platform for expression of truth. It is that fact that I know that truly, truly, it was not pre-mined. People didn't come together and say, "Oh, I have an investment. You have $1 million. You have $1 million. You be this, you be that. We share it." And just like politics is, just like governance is, they share and they give the crumbs. They call it tokenomics. They hide under Web3. But it was never like that. Satoshi Nakamoto did a test transfer, and now you have to do the work. You have to show proof that you do the work, and then you get your own reward. There's never been anything like that. So it's so honest. I love it. Every time you get your own profit, I get my own profit based on our bag, based on what you invested. And it is not like Robin, because he's white, he will get his profits or his interest earlier than me. No, it's not like Robin is going to get more money or Michael Saylor will get more money, and because I'm black or because some Bitcoiners don't like me, and then I won't get nothing at all. No, it's equal distribution of profits and loss at the same time. Moreover, if you hodl enough, you will know that you don't ever lose in Bitcoin. No loss. Forget about all the economic jargons. Forget about all the statistical jargons. All those things are nonsense. Check from 2009 till now. What is the performance of your currency? What is the performance of your stock? All those things are even inflated and manipulated. But this one, for once, all of us came together and we agreed. And every time peer-to-peer transactions are going, transactions are moving, and it's lovely. The only time there's centralization is when exchanges come in between. The likes of Botnet Cash, the likes of Coinbase, the likes of Bitfinex, all those big exchanges are the first community regulators. I say Bitcoin have been regulated from day one. We don't need no SEC. It's just that the people like us need to be regulated. People like us, people like all the big players in the space need to be regulated. You need to submit yourself to proper scrutiny, right? So the government should do their own thing. But you see, BTC itself has been regulated by the consensus mechanism. From day one, the highest regulation of money is in Bitcoin. The highest, unadulterated, unfiltered regulation. So any SEC, anybody coming is just trying to learn from Bitcoin and carbon copy that regulation and use it in their own framework and guidelines. So I tell people from the jump, if you look at what Bitcoin is, you will realize that it's for me, it's for you. Whether you buy 1,000 Bitcoin today and you hodl it and don't sell it for whatever type of game theory, whatever type of business analysis, objective, mission, vision, any kind of strategy you add onto Bitcoin for good, it will yield for you. But if you cannot move it over the network, you can never experience the net worth. I say Bitcoin gets its net worth from its network. So if you stack and hodl, I wish you all the best. I also stack and hodl too. But you see where the fun is for me? I can send swoosh, and it cannot be stopped. No matter how, if you like me or not. Whether African leaders or African governments like it or not, they will buy Bitcoin painstakingly one day. You know what's going to be funny? And it's so going to be interesting that even the US and any country that is stacking Bitcoin now, if you need Africa resources, and by then when the leaders wake up and say, oh my God, one SAT is now $100,000, because it's going to happen. Michael Saylor model, shout out to him. I love him. I mean, I don't have such, tremendous experience and knowledge. I learn from him all the time, and I love it when he mentioned Nigeria. But Michael Saylor model, I bet you will be wrong by those years, because Bitcoin will perform way better. There will be one Satoshi mined in 2040. What do you think will happen, Robin? What will happen to all the mining companies? Will they shut down for you and I to mine that one Satoshi? Or they will compete with guns and bombs and nuclear weapons? Some countries will fight some countries and say, oh my God, the mining operation in that country is big. We must make sure they don't mine the next block. Let's go and bomb them. And they bring all sorts of economic jargons, all sorts of bilateral trade miscalculation, all types of macroeconomics, unfavorable pronunciations and terminologies to destabilize geopolitical regions, just to be able to ensure that the one sat of 2140 will be mined by a miner in their region. Can you see the political war that will happen just to mine Bitcoin? It's not going to be about killing everybody here and there. Russia and Ukraine, we will read about that story that years ago, people were fighting wars with guns. The war of the future will be fought over the mining of sats.
Let's take a break for a moment and appreciate the beauty that Coin Vigilante has made with the Bitcoin watches. Those watches are the most amazing, the most elegant way of showing that you are a true Bitcoiner. And Coin Vigilante just dropped a completely new and amazing Genesis edition of their watch collections. You have the date of the first ever mined Bitcoin block in there, and of course also the block height and which epoch we are currently in. I love the level of detail they put in this masterpiece. Make sure to check out those amazing Coin Vigilante timepieces down in the descriptions. I love those watches so much. And now if you have Bitcoin, I really do hope that you don't have it on exchange. But if you do have it on exchange, I have two ways for you to deal with that. The first way is you put it on a hardware wallet. That's the entry for you to get into the self-custody game. I recommend BitBox, Bitcoin only edition for that. It's a super simple and secure way. And if you check out the link in the description, you even get 5% off if you use the code Robin. And the second way is the Bitcoin Way. The Bitcoin Way is your all-in partner in terms of how to get the most out of your sovereignty. They will personalize for you a self-custody setup that is perfect for your individual situation. They will show you how you can secure your own devices. Securing your Bitcoin is not enough. You also have to keep all your devices secure. One topic that is overlooked often is the inheritance plan. What happens with your Bitcoin once you are no longer here? Do you have a plan for that in place already? And last but not least, if you're in jurisdictions where you don't feel safe, it's better to get a plan B. For all that, head over to thebitcoinway.com/Robin to get a 30-minute free call. And just a quick side note, I will be for the first time ever speaking at the Bitcoin Prague event in June. It will be absolutely legendary and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you there. You can get your ticket in the link down in the description of Bitcoin Prague, and very important, use code Robin to get 10% off your ticket. I'm really looking forward seeing you there. That's very impactful. I think that's also very true, what you just said. And I think we already have seen the slow start of that, where there is small countries that started mining, for example, Bhutan. They have done mining since 2019 and only told people about it in 2024. So they did it 5 years without telling anyone. If you now think about that and think about who else is currently mining and is not telling anyone, who else is currently stacking Bitcoin and not telling anyone, I think it's a lot more than we publicly know. It's not just the US and El Salvador and Bhutan and some other smaller ones. It's way more, and it's going on behind curtains. It's going on behind the closed doors, and it's definitely happening.
For once, Robin, have you ever seen for once an excited community like the Bitcoin community that has bettered the shitcoin communities now? And you see how excited everybody are? Go to X Spaces after this meeting for once and search spaces, and you will see how people start spaces and wealthy people connect with middle class and poor. Everybody come and exchange conversations. You and I can connect and talk to the richest and the wealthiest of the world on X Spaces, Clubhouse, Discord, different platforms talking about hardest money on earth. It never was like that. It was never like that. Nobody was excited to discuss the US dollar, the Naira over X Spaces and gathering and doing meetups. No, it was basically maybe them going to Geneva or maybe them going to World Economic Forum. The biggest players, the centralized biggest players in the monetary space are the only ones that can attend money events. Today, We are going to Bitcoin conferences. People are starting Bitcoin programs. People are doing Bitcoin artworks and making money. It has never been like that. The excitement in this community is so different that a young person from the confines of their home in Africa and then in Nigeria who has no way out, living under inflation and poverty, can just immerse themselves in Bitcoin education, and with the little amount of power, electricity that they get and or internet data, they learn and say, wow, okay. And they start to just serve the education back, and their life can change like that. People have invested in mining business. People have invested in exchange business, peer-to-peer OTC businesses. Relationships have been built cross-border just because of Bitcoin for good. And it's just 16 years old, a juvenile if it were a human being. What do you think will happen when Bitcoin is 30, a mature man?
That's really cool. How do you actually look at, you mentioned Donald Trump before, and we're now talking about that a little bit. How did you look when you first heard about Donald Trump being more and more into Bitcoin, when then the strategic Bitcoin reserve was introduced, and when you see like Michael Saylor sitting almost next to Donald Trump?
It was very sweet. I've always known that something like that would happen, but I didn't know that it was going to be Donald Trump. But I'm not surprised. Can't you see Larry Fink? Can't you see Michael Saylor himself? If you were a naysayer yesterday, it's to your own peril today if you are not a yes person to BTC. It's you sitting on the gunpowder of fiat. We all have read Michael Saylor's story, a wonderful poster man for BTC. We all have read his story. We all see how he has now brought all that relevant years of experience into marketing Bitcoin in a new dimension that a lot of us never knew. So we saw the tweets are there. The internet never forgets when Donald Trump was against Bitcoin. Today, he saw what Bitcoiners community was able to do for him in election, and he can see how powerful it is. Even him have tasted the money in the space that Bitcoin bettered, and then people have manipulated it. He has done shitcoin. We know that, but thank God he's trying to clean his tract by basically creating and separating the digital stockpile from the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Look at those unique names. God bless whoever coined those titles. Strategic Bitcoin reserve, digital stockpile. It looks like good and bad, but let's just have it anyway. It looks like premium, individual project, and for everybody, stock and pile them. So it's Donald Trump that is benefiting from Bitcoin's positive PR. Is the president of the United States of America that is benefiting from the PR. And of course, largely expanding his coast by doing other things. But look at what Bitcoin has done for him. So I'm expecting African presidents to campaign with Bitcoin so that their PR can be on another level. Any African president today, mark my word, that uses Bitcoin as a forefront campaign strategy, like Donald Trump did, will get cheap international worldwide PR. You know why? Because Bitcoin authentically like to support anybody who has found that truth. And it's just so sad that people now take advantage of that and just use it wrongfully. So I don't feel somehow. I'm just very happy for Americans. Of course, I have my family there, my mom, my brother, my blood brother. So it's good for their country and anybody that takes advantage of it. What I just wish is that my country also wake up. But whether they wake up or not, I pray that they keep having these arguments here and there, and then we are able to stack as much sats as possible, But I wanted to say something that I skipped the train of my thought. That whether America likes it or not, whether Saylor likes it or not, one day, all that Bitcoin that you're stacking, that you're borrowing against and doing everything, you will use it to trade. Because you might need gold from Africa. You might need oil from Africa. You might need something one day. And one Bitcoin is now 100 million. And then they have realized, especially the millennials, who will become the baby boomers of tomorrow, the Gen Zs of today, who will become the millennials of tomorrow, will now have accumulated enough knowledge, and they will be able to say, no, you got this thing for cheap. from our forefathers. You won't get it for cheap from us. You will have to pay us. We know you have a stack of 1 million BTC. So you're going to have to pay us 20% of that for our oil. And they will do it in the open. And Bitcoiners will support and say, yeah, give it to them if you want it. If you don't want it, they say they don't want your fiat. And you will trade with it. And nobody will be able to stop it. There will not be any reason for any country to be sanctioned and say, no, Bitcoin will not move over a rail, except they don't run their own node. You can run your node and nobody will see you over at all. And over so many other strategies, right? So I wish America the best. I wish Donald Trump the best with what he's doing. I hope he's doing it with a sincerity of purpose. It's giving him a positive PR, and other African leaders and leaders of the world are now saying it. It's a good thing even for people like us, because the people that you have educated before and ignored you, maybe because they're wealthier than you, or because they're more knowledgeable than you, or they have access to power and resources than you, are now calling or are now saying it and saying, oh, that dude was a preacher. He was the word of God. He was sincere, by themselves. It is you that will change for Bitcoin. Bitcoin will not change for you. It is at your own peril, again, to undermine the future that Bitcoin has brought forward for you today.
Are you already on a almost full Bitcoin standard? Are you operating on a Bitcoin standard?
Of course, my life has already been hyper Bitcoinized, because I am the one who do the work of orange peeling people and making sure that I can spend my Bitcoin where necessary. I will say to a fact, whether you believe it or not, whether anybody believes it or not, that any astute Bitcoiner in Nigeria knows that it is penny wise, pound foolish. It is sitting on a time bomb to save in the Naira. Even the wealthiest of the wealthiest in Nigeria don't save in the Naira. They always look for how to, take their money and put it elsewhere. So I don't have money in Naira. As a matter of fact, that's why my internet data went off, so I have to quickly, convert BTC to cash and then buy data. Look, I'll tell you something. Go to Google, pick Nigerian Naira, right? Go to the currency section and write 1 sat of BTC. 1 sat of BTC to the Nigerian Naira. What you see will shock you. And it's like that across the world, right? 1 sat of Nigerian, of Bitcoin is already greater than the Nigerian Naira. Even the Nigerian government must wake up. Some people think that I'm talking down on my country. What do you mean? No, I'm exposing the flaws of our economy. That's what I'm saying. This is our reality. I am not close to the money printer. What do you want me to do? Continue to eat their lies and they shove it down my throat? Then I don't speak out when I can find the truth? No. For every sat you save, you are escaping the cancerous inflation that is killing your purchase power in Nigeria and all over the world daily. So it's natural. Yes, do it. 1 sat, 2 Naira. You'll be shocked. That's 1 Naira 31 kobo. So why should I freaking save in the Naira? Tell me. When just down the line 2 years ago, the Naira, just 1 Naira could buy multiple sats. It could buy as much, 1 Naira could buy as much as over 1,000 sats. But today, look at what it is. What makes you think in the next 10 years, 20 years down the line, add it to your age, add it to my age, add it to my 3-year-old daughter age, that 1 sat will not become almost 100,000 Naira between the next short few years. So I'm not crying so much because I've already experienced this with the dollar. $1 is about 1,500, 1,600. Even rose to about 2,000 some time ago. Same thing for the pounds, UK pounds. So we're already accustomed to this. And a smart person will opt out quickly. And that's why I keep saying it, that Americans are watching. The US dollar has already been strangled by Bitcoin. Strangled. And they should be telling their own stories. Just like we're telling our own stories. Right? So when people say, oh, Bitcoin, they're trying to help underprivileged world, the global south, it helps them for this, help them for that. Help yourself first. Look at how Bitcoin has messed up your own currency before you talk about Nigeria. Take out the log in your eyes before you come and say, yes, you want to help me wipe the sweat on my face. It's true what Bitcoin has done to every currency on earth. We should all be out there apart from God Almighty that we worship. We should all be out there celebrating and giving a round of applause, giving placards of celebration to Satoshi Nakamoto. Posthumous awards. That's what we should be doing. That's what we should be doing. I bet you the IMF will integrate Bitcoin into their monetary policies. Woe betide them if they don't do it. They will do it. They will do it painstakingly. So you see the facts why I have to hyper Bitcoinize. So I am already in so much Bitcoin. I may not have as much Bitcoin than you. I may not have as much Bitcoin than another person. But what I have already opted out of Naira. I only spend when I need Naira. Yes, because I am in the exchange business, right? It's only natural for me to have Naira for buying of Bitcoin. You receive Naira when clients wants to buy Bitcoin, right? And then you convert that Naira to, the currency where you can use to buy that Bitcoin as quick as possible. Usually you find a way to stabilize that Naira, right? So, and that's why I love what those my friends are doing with the CNGN, the Naira stable coin. So breaking news, I'm telling you right now, watch out for it. I don't need to convert to the US dollar any longer. Everybody should wake up. America is building a strategy for stable coins worldwide. Yeah, we love it. But guess what? You think the other countries are sleeping? In this new monetary system of the world, the format is going to be that I don't need your US dollar. Because the moment the CNGN, the newly introduced the Naira stablecoin, comes on the Bitcoin blockchain and I can use it over Lightning, why should I convert to US dollar? I'll do all my transaction in Naira on the Bitcoin blockchain. So I tell those Bitcoiners that are undermining what Taproot can do to just shut the fuck up. Because that is what is going to automate, engineer, and accelerate the new ways to spend monies of countries on chain. A lot of people will put their monies on fucked up chains, alternative chains, but the ones on Bitcoin will reign supreme. If not, why is Tether now trying to be, USDT, on the Bitcoin blockchain? You will see how people will abandon that of Tron and F. So the game theory might not favor the US, even when they are trying to buy Bitcoin and stack it as much as possible and say, we will go with the stablecoin regulation and make sure anybody that wants to buy the stablecoin thingy, they don't know what Satoshi Nakamoto has done. He has done something completely unique and different that every time you try to manipulate what he has invented, because you are still operating with that money printing mindset, you will fail. So it may not be what the US is thinking, that their US dollar will reign supreme. When countries now realize that we can actually put our currency, their inflationary dying currency, on Lightning, and then they can move, boom. People may not ever interact with the dollar again, and the world will change in our very eyes while we are alive. Pay attention. Don't sleep on a bicycle that has no tires.
I love it. You're painting a very clear picture, and I love also the background with Nigeria. And it's crazy for me, honestly, because we've seen the Bitcoin US dollar charts, we've seen the Bitcoin euro charts, but what I'm from Austria and talk a lot with American Bitcoiners and UK Bitcoiners and stuff like that. But if you actually compare the Nigerian Naira to Bitcoin from 2016 to now, Nigerian Naira has, according to Google, lost 99.93% against Bitcoin. that is so crazy. That is absolutely absurd. And I'm just looking at it. Maybe I can quickly do that. What is the same rate for, let's say, the US dollar? Why don't see the US dollar here? Oh gosh, why don't I see the US dollar here?
Check it out. It's right there. It's right there. But the thing is, it looks like it's still better for the US dollar because US dollar is the standard reserve currency of the world now. But if you zoom out, you will know that the most hurt is the US dollar, because it's the one that is facing the pain the most. The one that is susceptible to quicker collapse is the US dollar. America should be thankful to Donald Trump once again for making sure that Bitcoin comes to the forefront of conversation in the White House. Very soon, you will start seeing meetings, White House meetings, with countries. The US using their world power to negotiate with Nigeria, for example, and saying, look, electricity is cheap in your country. So we'll give you security. You give us free electricity and some land. We'll ship Bitcoin miners to your country. The conversations will change. It's not going to be about what it's about now. Nobody's going to be borrowing money here and there when the future comes. What do I want to use the US dollar for? Because I already know that I have a naira that is inflationary, that's, dependent on US dollar before, but now I put it on Bitcoin blockchain. Shout out to those people that have done it, and the people that will do it. Tether is already successful, but do you think that the world will sit down and let Tether and USDC be used as a Trojan horse to completely continue to impoverish them? No, people are waking up. And so the negotiation will change. And then the US president of now or then, and anybody that's smart, will invite other leaders and say, look, what can you do for me? Can I bring in 200,000 miners to your country and mine for free? I get a subsidized energy rate. And then I promise you, I'll give visas to your people. I'll give free education to your people. I'll give you other things that I have. I'll cut tariffs on the cars that come to your country, on the phone gadgets. I'll give economic opportunities for you, just because I realize that you have, water, that I can use to, create energy. You have dams that is not really doing so much. It's just wasting away. Power source that is not going to the people and then wasting away. What I can do for you is incentivize that your energy, you get more money, I get money, we share the money, and then we supply more electricity to your people. How about that? Oh, that's good. I love it. And then, I give you this in return. Good business. Handshake. You see how the dynamics is going to change. It would change. It would change. So even though the naira is plummeting, I keep saying it that a smart Bitcoiner should not concern himself about that. America is the country that should begin to look at how they will lose that thing that they think that the dollar is. And that's why I love the US. I love it. It's the best country that I've ever been, even though I'm Nigerian. I love it. My mother, my brothers are there. I advise anybody, if you have never been to America, you have not seen a free world before. But the US dollar will never reign supreme as long as Bitcoin remains what it is. It will never, in our face, maybe not while we are alive, and we will not die young. We will live long enough to see these things unfold. It will not take 100 years. It won't. It will take sooner than we think. It might just happen in the next 15 years. You will not believe it. As long as people are not sleeping, as long as people are awake, autocratic leaders will leave. Something will happen. There is never permanent occurrence, leadership, or championship. What you have is current. So our currents always move, change. And the only thing that is constant is change. So there's no permanent. It's current that you have. The current situation will change, right? And then surprise will happen on earth. Like Donald Trump is surprising Americans and fighting corruption for real. And they are revolting. Corruption fights back when you're fighting it. That is what will happen. America will fight back so much. And it will be like, oh my God, why did we adopt Bitcoin? Why did we adopt Bitcoin? It's killing the US dollar. It has already strangled the US dollar. It has held the US dollar captive. It is just going to unveil it to other people and say, look, you guys have been manipulated for so long. Watch what will happen. Watch. But we would be lucky. The hyper Bitcoinized ones early. It will just be a better market for you and I. Then we'll be able to send more sats. And one sat will worth tremendously high. And those countries that don't adopt Bitcoin will still be there, dwelling there. And we can just go and use 10,000 sats to buy a high rise. Woo! It would be beautiful.
I love your energy. It's really, really cool. it was really cool. All those topics that we have discussed, I really enjoyed our conversation. I'm really looking forward to releasing it. One thing I always ask my guests is, what can we learn from you besides Bitcoin?
I tweeted something this morning. Let me go back there.
That's always the question where the guest thinks the longest. all the Bitcoiners are thinking the longest of like, what can we learn from you besides Bitcoin?
Let me read this out to you. I'll read out one tweet. I tweeted this morning. Some won't believe you, even if it's undeniably true. But that's not their fault. It's your responsibility to continue to win. Bitcoin is what you should use as a mantra for racing ahead of them all. For me, my integrity had been tested. I have come out and triumphed. The truth will always rear its head. Stay positive. Do not isolate yourself, but remove yourself from any energy that wants to change your color. Stand for that positive thing that you believe, and you will see how the universe will work in your favor. Never forget to open your mouth and speak what you want to this sky, open sky that God Almighty has blessed all of us with. It's the same sky all over the world, the same blue sky, the same sky that you have in your country in Austria. It's what I have in Nigeria. It's what everybody has. So if you put these words together, make use of it and interpret it however you like. But never, ever, ever let your enemy win. Never let what they say define who you are and what you will become. Change is constant. Change your life. Change your ways. Tomorrow is pregnant. Make sure it births something nice for you.
That's beautiful. That's really pregnant. Yeah. Let's birth something beautiful tomorrow. I like that saying a lot. Really cool. Thank you so much for that. We have a routine in the podcast where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest actually is. And the previous guest asked you the question, what is the biggest thing Bitcoin will change in your world, in our world? I guess it's the same world.
I don't think I'm in the position to answer that or to express that, but I'll try the best of my knowledge. I just believe that other astute Bitcoiners may have represented this question way better, because I learned from other great Bitcoiners that you have also interviewed, and some other ones that we will or would be. But I would like to say and maybe ask, what are you doing with all the Bitcoin you're stacking? And what are you doing for Bitcoin? It's very,
I love
very
that.
because people undermine the question. People undermine the question. With the sincerity of purpose, look into your heart. Are you using Bitcoin to colonize even more? Are you using Bitcoin to stay autocratic? Or you are using Bitcoin to change yourself and change others for good? The question is unique to whoever is coming, and I would like to learn from their answer.
I love that. Thank you so much. And before I let you go, where can people find you? Ask you questions and reach out to you. Where's the best place to reach out to you?
But yeah, on X, on LinkedIn, I'm very active on X and LinkedIn. I don't use my Facebook any longer. My full names can be searched on Google, but this is my handle. Maybe you can just type it in. I'll put my link on it. Let me quickly send you.
I will put the Twitter handle in the description so people can find it directly there.
You can find me on Twitter. If you find me on Twitter, DM me if you can. If you cannot DM me, follow me. Request for a DM. You can find me. And then, I would like to, if you don't mind, first of all, I want to thank you, Robin, for inviting me. I appreciate you. Salute to your work. It's not easy to give people a platform for expression. As you're giving us expression platform, you're also benefiting, and I want to pray for you that the universe will continue to favor you. The work that you're doing will continue to blossom and germinate positively for you. However, I would like to use the opportunity to invite you to the first ever the second edition of the Niger Bitcoin Conference. We had one last year. You can check out the website if you like, share it with your people. I don't know if you've ever been to Africa. Travel information is on the website. Please come to Nigeria. I will be willing to host you. I'm ready to host you. I'll clear you from the airport and come and see what we do with Bitcoin for real and tell your audience for real. And also, I would like a situation whereby male and female Bitcoiners can help mentor the Nigerian women Bitcoiners that we have. Women change the world so much. They are productive in nature. They are multipliers in nature. When you educate one woman, you educate a nation. So more Bitcoin education is needed for proper Bitcoin adoption, not that short-term adoption that then can be converted to shit coining. So please help spread this word that a Bitcoin conference is happening in Nigeria in 2024. In Nigeria, I don't mean in Africa. So, but you are welcome from the diaspora, from anywhere all over the world. Just go to the website. Information is being updated day by day. I personally sponsored the Bitcoin conference in Nigeria with my own money, about 98%. Shout out to one or two persons that supported, right? But because we couldn't find support and I needed to show a proof of work, unlike other Bitcoin conferences that get funding, because I don't want people to call me names or say this and that. So I decided to say, well, we'll show you what proof of work is. And we did it. And we had our keynote speaker as the Director General of the SEC. Guess who we will be having as keynote speaker or keynote speakers this year? It's going to be wonderful. Watch out for Nigeria. That's what I would like to say last. And again, thank you largely. If you don't mind, sometime coming, I would like to also host you on the Africa Bitcoin space. So we'll learn from your story yourself.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the invite, and then I will definitely be there. I love Twitter spaces. They are most amazing. Also, thank you so much for everyone that is watching and listening, for joining us today. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.